I get it when you're looking at a 17-inch laptop that costs as much as a small desktop. You're wondering if you're about to throw your money into a black hole. You've probably read a handful of glossy ads that promise unlimited power and studio-grade graphics. But the real question is whether that power actually translates into something useful for your day-to-day workflow. And just so you don't have to hunt around, link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's walk through what it feels like to actually run this machine for a typical workday, and then we'll talk about who really benefits from it and who might be better off looking elsewhere. First off, the screen. At 17.3 inches, it's almost a desktop replacement. And the 38402160 panel isn't just a marketing number. I tried editing a 10-minute 4K video on Premiere Pro, and the extra pixel density let me see fine details in the timeline without constantly zooming. The 99% DCI-P3 coverage means the colors you see on the screen are very close to what you'd get on a calibrated reference monitor, which is a huge plus if you're doing color-critical work like motion graphics or product photography. The anti-glare coating also helped when I moved the laptop from a bright office to a dim coffee shop. The screen stayed readable without the usual washout you get on cheaper panels. Now, the heart of the beast, a 13th Gen Intel Core i7-13850HX with 20 cores, paired with an RTX 3500 ADA. In real-world terms, that combo handles a hefty CAD model in SolidWorks with ease. I opened a 2 million triangle assembly, rotated it, and the frame rate stayed comfortably above 60 frames per second, which is the kind of smoothness you need when you're tweaking tolerances. When I switched over to Blender for a quick render test, the GPU accelerated the final pass significantly faster than my old workstation laptop, cutting render times by roughly a third. For anyone who spends their day in 3D modeling, video encoding, or running simulations, that performance boost is tangible, not just a spec sheet brag. Storage is another area where the machine shows its practical side. A 1TB PCIe Gen 4 SSD loaded up in seconds. I copied a 30 GB project archive, and the transfer completed in under a minute. That kind of speed means you're not sitting around waiting for files to load, which can add up over weeks of work. And with 32 GB of DDR5 RAM, you can keep multiple heavy applications open, say, Photoshop, After Effects, and a virtual machine without the system starting to swap to disk. All that power does have a cost, though. The laptop weighs just under 6 pounds and is about an inch thick, so it's not exactly a featherweight you'll toss into a backpack. When you're traveling with it, you'll notice the bulk, especially if you're used to a 13-inch ultra-portable. The battery is a 93 Wh unit, which sounds generous, but under a full-tilt workload, it drains quickly. In my tests, a day of mixed activity email, web browsing, a bit of rendering gave me roughly 5 hours before I needed to plug back in. If you need to be unplugged for long stretches, that's something to keep in mind. Thermals are another hidden trade-off. The machine does a decent job of keeping temperatures in check during short bursts, but if you run a prolonged render or a long gaming session, the fans spin up noticeably. The noise level is audible in a quiet room, though it never became a distraction. You'll just need to accept that a workstation of this caliber will be louder than a thin and light laptop. So who should actually buy this? If you're a professional who regularly works with high-resolution video, large 3D assemblies, or data-intensive simulations, the combination of a true UHD display, a powerful CPU, and a GPU with 12 GB of VRAM is a genuine productivity multiplier. Architects who need to preview BM models on the go, video editors who want to cut down on render wait times, and engineers who can't afford to wait for a desktop to finish a finite element analysis will feel the value. The fact that it ships with Windows 11 Pro also means you get BitLocker, group policy support, and other enterprise features that matter in a corporate environment. On the flip side, if you're a casual gamer, a student, or someone whose primary tasks are web browsing and office work, you're probably paying for capabilities you'll never fully use. A mid-range 15-inch laptop with a 1080p screen and a less aggressive CPU would handle those tasks with a lighter chassis, better battery life, and a lower price tag. Even for gamers, the RTX 3500 is decent for 1080p or 1440p titles, but you won't get the same high frame rate experience you'd see on a dedicated gaming rig with a higher-tier GPU. Another niche to consider: